Hey guys, and welcome to, I call it the Black British panel. We're going to have conversations each week discussing popular culture and relationship topics. Yes, the UK is not tired of black folk talking about relationship topics, so I decided to add some more onto what we already have in our culture and our scene. And I'm joined by some fabulous guests. I will allow them to introduce themselves so you can get to know them a little bit better. But before we do, listen, please, those of you in the chat, keep it respectful, keep it cute, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel as well. Guys, if you've got YouTube in the background, just mute it behind our scenes. Thank you. All right, listen. So I'm going to ask these lovely panelists to introduce themselves. I'm going to go from Naomi first. Just state your name, your location, and describe the dating scene in one word. That's what I need from you, Naomi. Okay.
Hi everyone, I am Naomi Mbelu and I am currently in London. And if I had to describe the dating scene in one word, I can't think of a word. Challenging. I'll go with challenging.
Challenging.
In a good way though, in a good way.
No. I ain't saying nothing. I'm just, cool. Max, I know I already said your name, but still.
Yeah. Okay, by Max. I'm based in the Midlands, and I would say that the dating scene is, in one word, I'd say potential.
Okay, cool. I like that. Charlene, I'm gonna say everybody's name, but you can say it again. Don't worry.
That's for me, yeah? Okay, I'm Charlene. Hi, everybody. I'm here in London. I can't use one word. I've got two words, though, for the dating scene here, and it's swipe left.
Yes, 2 words, but I'll allow you. Technically 2, but I'll allow you. Riza, talk to me, brother.
What was the question? My connection was acting up.
No worries. Just state your name, your location, and one word to describe the dating scene right now.
Oh, okay, cool. My name is Risley. I am from London, and one word to describe the dating scene: complicated.
These descriptions are wild. TD.
What's happening, people? I'm TD, and one word. Oh, wait, sorry. TD from London, calling from Southeast London. And one word to describe the dating scene as I see it now: volatile.
Y'all have no hope in this dating scene. That's a volatile.
It doesn't have to have a negative connotation. It can have a positive connotation too.
Okay. Well, I'll come back to you then. Don't worry about it. Jay, Mr. King.
Well, for me, it's wonderful, but when I hear and listen to everyone else speak, the word I have to use is a calamity.
Thank you. Cobbs.
Hi everyone, my name is Cobbler, originally from London, currently in Stuttgart. Yeah, I'm creatively jacked, financially stacked. If I had to use one word to describe the dating scene, I would say informative.
Informative. I love this. All right, great, cool. Good introductions, positive. I love it. Y'all described the dating scene and said so many great things about it. So let's have this conversation, because the descriptions that you guys gave, I want to be able to tap into a little bit more in terms of why you gave those particular descriptions. So now I'm gonna go TD first, because yours really sounded wild. So you said volatile. So give me your best description in 2 minutes. Like, why did you say that the dating scene is volatile at this current moment?
I can already see Katie's. She's lit me up. She says I'm gaslighting. What I mean by volatility, what I understand volatile to mean is that it ebbs and flows, ups and downs. It's not a settled scene, so there's no consistency. So you can have people with success stories, you can have people with horror stories. That's the reason why I use the word volatile. It's not. I don't necessarily think everything out there is doom and gloom, but I respect that some people's experience may be that, you know, they can't find the right kind of girl, the right kind of guy. They've looked everywhere from the church to the club, and it's not working for them. So I'll use the word volatile because I've heard some success stories too, including my own.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Jeffrey, welcome to the panel. Just quickly before anyone goes again, just state your name, location, and one word to describe the UK dating scene. One word.
Okay, everybody. Name's Jeffrey. Like, not really much to say in this subject other than the fact that the dating scene is, I guess, it's just how you look at it. That's really
one word, you know. One word, Jeff. One word, Jeff. Just one word for me.
Subjective.
Interesting.
Huh? Jeffrey's word.
Interesting.
Jeffrey's word is subjective.
He says he was ready to give us a good dissertation of the fact that dating scene is
interesting.
I hear you, Jeff. No worries. I will hear you. Whilst we're on you anyway, we're already on you. So you know, you will kind of give us your explanation of the dating scene in 2 minutes. Just give us your reasoning why you stated your one word for what the dating scene is.
Reason why I say it's interesting is because there are so many different subjects about this dating scene. Some people are saying, bruh, it's like mad out here in these streets here. Like, some people are saying that I don't have any issues finding a significant partner for me. It just all comes down to, number one, your intent versus people's expectations versus so many different talking points you hear on the internet. Yeah, like I'm a Londoner, yeah, so I'm hearing so many different scenarios and situations that are going on. And then when you go outside of London, some people are not even dealing with the situation. So it's a case-to-case situation where when it comes to the dating scene. So that's why I say it's so interesting, because so many people have different perspectives on it. So, yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Let me go to one of the ladies. Charlene.
Mm-hmm.
Expand on the one word that you use for the dating scene and why you use that word.
So I said swipe left, but it's not for the reason that you might think. The reason why I said swipe left is because people aren't really dating each other. They're looking at their phone and they're interacting with an app. So what's happened, what I've noticed is that people have kind of lost their value. So it's easy to swipe left. It's easy to dismiss a whole person when actually they're a human being. It's easy to just block someone without having a conversation. It's easy to just say, oh, they've got red flags, so I'm just going to swipe left. It's easy to dismiss somebody. So you can be so quick to move on, so quick to swipe. These are whole human beings. But we live in a swipe left dating scene. So that's why I said those words.
I like this response. Okay. Max, one word you described the dating scene. Why is it you gave that word?
So I gave potential, and I think my internet's struggling a little bit, but hopefully you can hear me and see me okay.
You're good, we can hear you.
I think that's because you're often not finding the finished product. You're often finding people in the state of potential, and you're having to decide whether you are willing to, it's not quite build a bear, but you're going to have to invest in order to get some dividends. And I do think that in that sense, yeah, you're finding potential. And I don't know if that's what you always are advised.
She got that Ted Riley spirit. Oh gosh. Oh, Ted Riley don't care whether you black, white, Christian, non-Christian. Ted Riley gonna come for you. Don't worry, Max. We'll come back to you. Cobbler, tell me your one word that you described the dating scene. Give an expansion on why you gave that one word. We'll come back to Max.
I gave informative, and I think because there's a lot to learn about social interactions, about emotional interactions, just about different people's characters when exposed to different situations, that you can learn through dating. You can learn many things platonically as a person through dating, as well as romantically. And I think when you are dating, particularly with intention, you have a hyper focus on somebody else that you don't normally have, not even somebody that you're really close with, because you know, if you've got friends, there's multiple of them. If you've got family, there's multiple of them. But when you're dating, you have this hyper focus on one person, and you really, you know, if you're dating intentionally, get to really learn what it's like, generally for somebody that you perhaps didn't even know before. So they may be somebody that's different from your upbringing, outside of your normal social circle, because for a guy, you're generally making that first move based on just a visual representation. You don't know anything about their background. So there's a lot to learn about a person, about society in general from dating, whether it's successful or not.
Appreciate it. Riza, talk to me. Your one word for the dating scene and why you decided to use that word.
I think my internet's struggling a bit as well, but can you hear me?
Oh, you're good, bro.
Oh, yeah. Well, I said complicated, right? Yeah, I said complicated. I think it's just how I kind of, well, I don't know how it is outside of London, but the London dating scene, I thought, could be very complicated, especially around my age group. There's a lot of rules. I'm not sure if it's just in the Black community, but we always have, it seems like we have a lot of rules when it comes to dating that a lot of people don't even follow anyways. But I'm guessing, obviously, just touching on what our sister said about the swipe left, it kind of links with that in terms of people just being very quick. So having these set of complicated rules, and seeing, for example, a red flag, and I've said, you know, I'm not trying to stick this out, or I'm not trying to explore this, but just very quick in everything, just moves super fast. So I just feel like it's not as straightforward. I think they could be very straightforward, innit? But that's just me personally. But I feel that obviously with these, it just seems like there's a lot of imaginary rules that we follow. And I'm guessing when you're kind of surrounded by it, seeing it on social media, just kind of being around it subconsciously, it kind of rubs off on you as well. Speaking for myself anyways. So yeah, it can be very complicated, I feel.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Thank you. Naomi, your word to describe the dating scene and expand for me.
So I use the word challenging, and I guess similarly to Cobbler, I think that there's so much to learn within the dating scene, which kind of like pushes you to be on your toes, figuring out what you like, what you don't like, readjusting your filters, your preferences and so forth, which makes it quite challenging. And I also feel like there are a lot of options, especially now with social media. There's a lot of space to continuously like be comparing each experience to the next. And it's kind of like forever changing the idea of what it is you think you want, what you like and what you don't like. And I think the last point that probably heightens how challenging I personally find it is the fact that I think it was Risley that just said it's quite fast paced. Everything is happening so fast. You're learning so much in a short space amount of time. You're learning about yourself, you're learning about other people. And yeah, sometimes it kind of feels like it's a bit overwhelming and you kind of have to take a little pause, regroup and figure out, okay, hold on. And I think actually to add also the definition of dating, I personally have found it quite challenging because I'm having to revise what I think dating looks and feels like. And that helps me navigate the dating scene a bit better. But even though it sounds relatively negative in definition, I think challenging is quite good because it kind of like forces you to be very aware of what exactly you're doing within the dating scene.
Okay, I love that. Nice and simple. You know, I didn't want to go too hard the first opening thing, but let me create some chaos. But before I do, Jay, your one word and describing the dating scene and why you described it that way.
I said the word calamity here, but let me, you know what, I agree with what everyone is saying. Like, I actually like what everyone is saying, so I'm going to try and say something different. So this may be a unique experience for me, and I'm saying this for a reason. The dating scene has never been a problem for me. What has been a problem is who shows up in relationships. But what I see now, I'm 36 years old, is that how people are showing up in relationships, they're double downing on when it comes to dating. And I feel like it's amplified in the world we live in today. So the reason why I say it's a calamity is because people generally think that they actually know how to be happy. And they're chasing things that they believe are going to make them happy. Clearly not. The people are lost. So when they don't get something, they think, like we just talked about, an hour ago, It's almost like they keep on moving on goalposts, chasing the happiness because they're not doing the work on themselves. That to me is why it's a calamity. Because people don't know how to be in relationships, how to be in healthy relationships. People don't know how to work together. People don't know how to build together anymore. Everything's about, this is what I want. If I'm not getting it, therefore you're not useful, you're useless, you have no value. And to me, we're not going to become better as a society until we do that. Because as long as everyone is saying, this is what I want, we're going to continue to be adversarial. There are people who just don't like each other, but are still dating. It doesn't make sense to me. That's it.
Thank you very much, Jay. I appreciate that. All right, cool. Let's create some chaos because, you know what, it's been nice and polite. So, and I enjoyed it. Okay, it was nice while it lasted. Okay, but I want to ask this question. I want to create a bit of carnage. Okay, you guys, some of you guys described the dating scene as interesting. Some of them said calamity. Some of you said they're bang that you guys said. Okay, so I want to ask a question. Whose fault is it that the dating scene is like this? Is it a man? Or is it the women? Who is it that is to blame for this dating scene that we are seeing right now? The way you're saying it's calamitous, is this, is that. Whose fault is it? That's a question I'm asking to you guys and ladies as well. Whose fault is it that the dating scene has become this calamitous? Who caused the first domino to fall? Who dropped the ball? Jeff, start the game for me, bro. Go on then, Jeff. You got your 2 minutes. Go on.
You want to start trouble? You want to start trouble?
I do. Warfare.
Okay. So don't shoot the messenger, but I'm going to say it is the man. Okay. I'm saying it. I said it. If we're going to listen, don't shoot the messenger, but this is the reason why. Okay. Every single time I hear, oh, it is the woman's fault. But men are supposed to be the leaders. So if we do not lead by example, how can you expect the woman to follow your example when you say you're the leaders now? You keep on talking about, I want my woman to be this. I like big breasts. I like big breasts. Right? I like all of this stuff. I'm visual creatures. So when the woman, they follow what our stupidity is, what do you think is going to happen now? What do you think is going to happen? So please, we love to say, oh, women, they have unreasonable expectations. But if we are the leaders, and yes, I can imagine people in the comments saying, I'm a simp. Okay, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. But I will say it is demand them, okay? I don't want to do just this moment in time, so I'll say it demand them. I'm taking responsibility right now, okay? I'm taking it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. I'm dying inside. All right. Does anybody have an opposing view to what he said? Does anyone have an opposing view to what he said?
Please.
Be brave enough. Please don't let Jeff's accent put you off. Be brave enough to go. Yes, TD. Yeah, step up to the plate.
I don't. I'm just laughing at the comments. Apparently, it's my fault for releasing volatility, but I don't necessarily have an opposing view, but I think a distinction has to be made, because if we use the example of Adam and Eve and we talk about it, I don't know how many of you all out there are Christians. I don't know how many on the call are Christians. I assume.
Don't worry about that. You Christianize yourself.
If we talk Adam and Eve and we put that out there, that's an illustration of the first marriage. That doesn't necessarily reflect dating. If we look historically, dating has evolved and changed in so many different ways, and we're in an era where there are so many nuances with dating, online dating, pen pals, and the advent of the internet has, created a whole new platform. So difficult to point directly at men. I'm not going to say that it's not. I mean, everybody's got their fair share of dirt. I think it's 50-50 personally. That's me. If we take the biblical stance, difficult to say whether it's men or women, but my thing is it's 50-50. Men do as much madness as women do madness, and it's not because anybody's necessarily bad, but we just built with just madness in us, man. We just built the chaos inside of us, man. It needs to be tamed. Not enough guidance from parents and all of that jazz, and upbringing, all of this messy stuff. But yeah, I digress.
Thank you. Jay, you said you were going to disagree. Were you going to disagree? And then I'll go to Charlene. Did you say you were going to disagree?
The thing is, my disagreement is in line with what TD said, right?
Okay. I can hear you, bro.
I think some men in this conversation will say it's women because of feminism, but let's be honest. Feminism wasn't our community's problem. That had nothing to do with us until more recently, right? So what I'll say is, when you look at how things were from decades ago, clearly the men started to fail the woman that they were supposed to protect, provide, and create stability for. And I say that I'm not interested in what slavery did. I'm not interested because we have a choice to change things, right? And clearly the men at those times, especially in certain cultures, were putting women in a position where they had to be the more responsible one. However, now we've come full circle, where clearly, if anyone disagrees, you're lying to yourself. Women have become a problem on their own. They have become the same. They have become like the men that they complain about. So no one gets off lightly. Everybody has to do better. All of this versus mentality is destructive. It's not working. We all have to do better. Just blaming one side is not going to get us anywhere. And me, I tell the truth. I'm called a spade a spade. I don't care if people like what I'm saying. I'm looking out on the world and I'm seeing what happens. And I'm like, how is this going to make you happy? I don't care if you're a woman or a man. But like I said, people now are doing their own thing, thinking it's going to make them happy. It's not. I call a spade a spade. Like, look, everybody has the potential to be a problem, and it's happening. And that's all I say, man.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
Charlene, talk to me.
Yo, this is comedy. I love it. I love what Jay said. I love what Jeffrey said. So I agree that it's about responsibility and not blame. And this is what I think women are responsible for. You didn't expect that, did you? See, look. Okay. Do you know what? Yeah. What I'm seeing is women say that they want men to take the lead, but as soon as they do, we want to call them toxic masculine and narcissist and all kind of thing. So what happens here? I've met guys on the UK dating scene who are now timid. And they're like lions with corks on the end of their claws. They're just timid. They don't want to, and they call it disrespect. I don't want to disrespect you. And I'm just like, I need you to be a lion. And they are afraid of overstepping boundaries and being called somebody that oppresses women. And this has become such a huge problem in the modern dating scene. It's not just the UK. This is in the Western world, period. And gentlemen, I'm going to need you to take the corks off of your nails, okay? Off of your claws, okay? Because I'm not scared of you. I'm just saying. Okay, bye.
What a point. What a point. Yes, Naomi, go for it.
So obviously I agree with what everyone said. And I think for me, as much as I appreciate that, men are the leaders of our community, societies, etc., I definitely think that women are complying at the moment in more ways than one. I think outside of the fact that, put your glasses back on, outside of the fact that they are trying to play both roles and there's not a clear understanding of what each sex is playing in a relationship or within the dating scene, I think that if we're talking about true partnership and longevity, I think that women have dropped the standards and they're kind of allowing men to lead them in a direction that is regressive to being able to maintain partnerships and get into marriage by making things easy, by, like we said, not allowing men to be men and them equally playing a quote-unquote position, and also not really kind of sticking to their guns in terms of what their expectations are, what they expect to happen. Making things easy for men means that, men are able to kind of just navigate the dating scene very freely without having to commit, without really having to put in the work, without really understanding what it is that women are asking for and working towards that. You do the bare minimum and you're still able to receive the benefits of having access to a woman, which means that, it's just going very much backwards. So yeah, women are complying in more ways than one.
She said the bare minimum is being done. Gentlemen, the bare minimum is being done by some of you. Okay. Anyone want to take on the mantle on that? Anyone want to take the mantle? Cobbler, Rizzy, you're laughing. Are you not going to take the mantle? Yes, Rizzy, you're looking at me handsomely. Take the mantle. Pause. But take the mantle.
No. That's a pause. Yeah, I can't say that us as men are fully to take the blame as the same way. Can't put it on women either. But obviously, just linking to what obviously our brother said about the traditional woman and how we are, I do think over time, just kind of bouncing off his point, a lot of women don't have to rely on men as much as they did before. So I think this day and age, we have men trying to date women who don't actually need us, in the sense that obviously they don't really have to provide for them anymore. They have options now in this day and age. Everything is just it's just there, innit? But at the same time, as much as men are supposed to be leaders, that doesn't take the fact that obviously women shouldn't be held accountable for their actions. Just because we're supposed to be leaders, it doesn't mean that they can act anyhow because they're not being led, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't really say it's fully for us to take the blame, because at the end of the day, everyone's got to take accountability for their own actions. If I'm not leading a woman right, or biblically, if you can't say, oh, blaming Adam for Eve taking the apple because he didn't lead her correctly. At the end of the day, we all have a choice. We all decide how we want our life to go. We all decide how we want to date. So everyone has to take accountability for their own actions. And I would say it's just putting the blame on the next person. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Love that. Okay. Cobbs, you've been quiet, so you haven't spoken yet. So let me get your thoughts.
All right, a couple responses. I think the way the discussion started was it was good. It was healthy. It is chicken and egg. Men probably started it, but yeah, everyone's got a part to play. I wanted the last couple of comments that were made. So there was one about men doing the bare min. Yeah, we're gonna do the bare min. Like if I'm bowling and I get a strike, coach, look at me. Am I gonna now turn around and say no? Put an 11th pin there. The bar has been made so low. The bar is so low, such that some of us men don't have to really do anything. I didn't ask it to be this way. It's just the reality of what we have. The bar is in Hades. Can you see my hands? No, that's how low the bar is. Okay. So I don't know what type of men some women have been going for that have created this negative. I can't even speak. You're understanding my point. It's not my fault the bar is that low. It's like when you see high jump or when you see pole vaulting, every time they're going, they just about clear the bar. Yeah. And then they get to the next round, they're always just about clearing the bar. The bar starts at, let's say it's starting at like 2 meters. Why are you going for world record when the bar is at 2 meters? You play the competition that's in front of you. Okay. Like, I think everyone should be doing better. That's my honest opinion. But I don't think people can be blamed for doing the minimum. If you want to raise your expectations, that's completely fine. That's between you and yours, whoever you're interested in. You don't need to be concerned about other people doing the minimum. If you communicate what your needs are, either he's going to meet it or he's not going to meet it. So yeah, that's what I'd have to say on that. There was something else, but I've forgotten now.
Don't worry, your time has even come to pass. Don't worry. Okay, thank you, Cobbs, for that breakdown. He said the bar. Why would you have an 11th pin if you already have 10 there for strikes? So, them analogies right there. Interesting. Max, you alive?
I'm here. I'm just listening.
Beautiful. I want to get your thoughts. Whose fault is it? The dating scene is calamatos, is volatos, is all these words with the os in it. So tell us, whose fault is it? Is it the men or is it women?
So this is the thing. I feel like it's easy to gender it. Truly, there's a lack of accountability. We could probably pin culture to as responsible for a lot of it. Men do need more accountability. But really following that last point from Cobbler, I do think women have more influence in dating, men in marriage. Women have to choose what they settle for, and men are going to lead that marriage, right? A man is going to be the one who you want to lead that marriage. But at the end of the day, in the dating, it's about women and choices. Now, the problem is that doesn't make it a woman's fault for what's available to her. And that's why the accountability comes in. Because like Cobbler said, if a man can get away with bare minimum, what's the incentive to do more? Well, that's where the accountability comes from. That's where either his faith comes from, where the standard isn't just set at the society, but it's set at a higher standard. So in a way, there's multiple failures. Really, there's multiple failures. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down in the dating scene to a woman's choice, because you could arguably choose better. But then if there isn't that option, where then do we go? And I think that's where culture now is to blame, because if culture keeps pushing it as women, it's your choice, but not giving us actual good choices, then we're actually trapped. It's actually entrapment to push people towards marriage when you know you're not giving them good options.
Wow. Max, now that blew up the scene a little bit. I'm going to hold that question. I'm going to keep it so that we can talk about it after. Okay. I hear you. Who has not spoken? JR, you're looking like an unlockable wrestling character. I know your lights behind you, bro, but you're looking like we won a prize. But go on, JR. First of all, before you go and answer any of the questions, just let us know your name, your location, and one word to describe the dating scene at the moment.
Okay, I'm JRX TV. Current location at this present time is Cyprus.
My guy.
But I'm from London, South London to be exact. One word to describe the dating scene right now. I would say chaotic. And the reason why I'd say chaotic is because right now we have a lot of emphasis on who's supposed to do what role, and a lot of emphasis on who needs to take more accountability. Then we also have a lot of grace being given in a lot of different situations. And it's not always equal accountability or equal grace. Then we also have standards which have been very vocalized by women to start with, to say what they're not going to do and what they're not going to put up with. And more in recent times, you have more men saying what they're not going to put up with and what they're not going to do either. So now you have like a standoff, and it's I want to say it creates needed conversations to rebalance everything. Because if you just keep making demands, no matter which side of the fence you're on, which gender you are, if you keep making demands that are unrealistic for the people that you meet to be able to fulfill, then you're going to isolate yourself. And that may be ultimately what you want. Because not everyone's built for a relationship. You might want it. It might look good when you see other people doing it. But do you have what it takes to go through the ups and downs, the in and outs, the trials and tribulations, the waking up every day with that same person, the good times, the bad times? Do you have what it takes to be able to maintain a healthy, long-term, loving, committed relationship if that's what you really want? So what I think is a lot of people are punching above their weight. It might look good when other people do it. It might feel envious, jealousy.
You got 15 seconds, JR. 15 seconds.
Wish they could have it. but ultimately, are you built for what you're looking for? So that's why I say chaotic.
Thank you. He said some of you are punching above your weight. All right, cool. Who hasn't spoken yet on this topic of whose fault it was? Has everyone spoken? Have we got round to everybody? Everyone's answered whose fault it was. Okay. I want to come back to Mac's question because I thought that was loaded, personally. I thought that was heavy loaded. I mean, she basically surmised, if I'm correct, saying that women, you know, are almost entrapped with the choices that they have. Almost like, you know, they ain't got nowhere else to go because the choices are poverty. Is that was I correct in kind of bringing that up, Max, just to clarify, just to make sure I've got summary of your point?
To an extent, if you have to pick between bad and worse, that's not really an option. It's not really a choice. I'm not saying that's the dating scene. I'm not saying there's nothing out there, but I'm saying if you don't give good options, you're not really giving choice.
Let's bring some chaos to the panel then. So, Mandem, the ladies, since Mac has brought it up, okay, I want to say this. It's are people feeling like the choices are that bad? Are the choices in dating that bad? I'm going to ask that question. It could be for men or women, but is the choices in dating that bad? I'm just saying, because I've been hearing some stories. People be complaining about the dating scene. So who wants to answer? Naomi, you opened your mic, so I'm assuming you want to answer.
Honestly, I can appreciate people's horror stories, but I don't actually think the dating scene is as bad as people make it out to be. I think it probably reflects where you're going to meet people, how realistic your explanations are, and how you're dating. But ultimately, if you're not on serial dating and you're not looking for a quick fix, and you take your time to really observe the scene, identify who it is that you're looking for, there are actually a lot of great suitors. And I think for me personally, when I speak to a lot of my friends, the key thing that I point out is about expectations and how realistic they are. How many people have you met that have met the person, this list of people and characteristics you're looking for? How many times have you met this person? Who do you know that's been able to date this person successfully? How realistic is that? And ultimately, it's about looking in the right places and making sure that you're finding somebody that meets your needs past the surface. Or you can talk about wanting a provider, you can talk about looking for someone who can lead you. That's all great. These are quote unquote bare minimum characteristics you should have in a man, arguably because they're subjective in definition. But past that, what is it that you're actually looking for in terms of somebody that you're looking to build with? And that's why I always keep highlighting this thing about longevity, because people are dating faces and vibes. And that's why you're getting these bad experiences.
Okay. Does anyone have a counter to that or something different to what she said? People are in agreement. Anyone have a counter to that, though? Anyone slightly disagree? Jay, you have a disagreement? Go for it.
Not with Naomi, but with Max, though.
Oh, okay, go for it. Yeah, if you disagree with Max, then go on it.
Now, so you understand me, right? So, the King in my name stands for Kingdom in Need of God, Kingdom in Need of Greatness. And that's a mentality that I've put together. As I just mentioned, it's for men, because I'm in agreement that men need to do better, need to understand what it means to lead the community, lead marriage, just be better men in society, because until we start doing that for ourselves, we can't expect no one else to do it. And that's what I'm about, right? However, when it comes to the dating scene, and it kind of alludes to something that Naomi is saying, when it comes to the options, I can't agree with options when you're basically trying to choose the same person and hoping that they are different. That's what I see a lot of people are doing. There are options out there, but as a guy, I'm going to say this, but a lot of ladies don't want those options. I think over the past 2 years, how many times have we heard of across different podcasts, the majority of women, if they had a choice, they will go for a small percentage of men. There's not enough of those men to go around. And don't get me wrong, you think all of those men are good men? No. But there are great men. But the typical guy that may be that great man, a typical woman may not want. She has to make the decision to want that type of guy. Because if she wants that type of guy, then she needs to be able to appreciate him. And what we see a lot of the times, when it comes to a guy who wants to love you properly, a lot of women ain't ready for that and go into sabotage mode. They go into toxic mode. The guy will still get the blame, which is the problem, but they go into a mode where they just push the guy away. And that's where, for me, we have to address things properly. So it's not about options, it's about our choices. I've been there as a man where I've consistently made the same bad choices, like I mentioned, in relationships. And that's why I feel the way I think.
I love that point. Jeffrey, yes, go for it. You want to answer?
So to counter to Matt, also to counter Matt's point, because I know before I was just jokey, basically. I still believe that, but obviously I just want to reiterate the point that I do believe that it's equal accountability, not just a gender sort of thing, or we're making it as if, oh, one side has to take accountability and the other side gets away scot-free. It doesn't work that way. But to your point, Max, when you say that, you know, the options are bad, I think it's also your outlook. It could come down to your outlook in regards to, number one, what are you looking for in terms of a relationship? When you say, oh, the options are bad, well, again, what is the criteria that you use to determine if said options are bad? Because again, when it comes to this dating game or dating market, a lot of it takes two to tango in a relationship, but it seems that people are just dancing around actual criteria that you need to make long-term relationships work. What principles are you using to actually vet people out? And when it comes to the whole dating matter, are you in it for recreational dating for the sake of just having fun, or are you looking for dating with intent to marry, which is courtship? So that's another aspect of it. When you're in recreational dating, are you simply wasting people's time and playing games or finessing guys? You know, I'm going to get this guy to take me out on so many dates. He thinks he's going to get the box, but nah, he's not really going to get the box. What is your actual motive when it comes to dating? And what standards do you have, like when it comes to height, or when it comes to looks, or when it comes to money? Meanwhile, you forget the intangibles that actually make long-term relationships last when it comes to character. Me as a Christian, yeah, of course, I love women that are attractive. But at the same time, there has to be a balance in terms of the character, because I have to be someone who leads by example in how I treat people, right? If I'm a loving person to my friends, to my family, to even people that I'm not even emotionally attached to, and I have to reciprocate that. When I'm initiating that, are you willing to reciprocate that? So again, what are you looking for when it comes to your so-called options? It's the mindset that's really the issue. And I think what's happening today is that so many people, men and women alike, get into relationships for instant gratification rather than delayed gratification on the long-term haul. Then people complain. Then you have two people on different sides, humans, men saying, oh, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks, forgive my language. And then women saying, oh, you men are trash. But then you guys are literally doing the same thing, but just on different sides. So it's a paradoxical situation that everybody's losing from this situation. Nobody wins. Nobody wins when human beings are feuding. Nobody wins.
Wrap it up, Jeff. Wrap it up, Jeff.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for that point, Jeff. Max, I just want to give you a second just to kind of take a minute just to reiterate, just to kind of maybe expand on your point a little bit, you know?
Yeah, because I feel like, guys, I agree with everything you've just said. That was not even the point. My answer was specific to fault, and the point that actually culture, it's not great to gender the issue. The culture, the lack of ability in culture, the way that society is pushing people is not allowing for this system of dating to work. So I was saying that you could argue that a woman has choice, that it's actually a woman who should make better choices in dating, and a man that will lead marriage. But the problem is the concept of choice depends on the choices available. So only if you have good choices do you really have choice. So that was just the point that I was making. That when we're saying, okay, are women even making good choices? They're dating poorly. Yes, there's going to be accountability always, but you always have to look at it holistically. Is she having good choices, or are we just saying she should have chosen better? Do you know her background? Do you know what she's exposed to? Do you know the opportunities she's had? Maybe that's a factor as well. But I take everyone's point. I don't actually disagree with anything that's been said. I was just raising another perspective.
No, I like that. Thank you, Max, for the carnage. I know there's still going to be some disagreements, and I can feel it in the system and in the air and the airflow. You know what I mean? Rizzy, you looked like you were going to say a point earlier on, and you had opened your mic. So go for it again. Tell us your thoughts. Thank you, Max.
I was. My thing is just my internet is all moving a bit. Just kind of responding to Max. And this is not me saying this directly to you. It's just me kind of thinking out loud. So in terms of options and women complaining about obviously not really having the best options and good options around, I feel like a lot of women think that they're good and they're not. So you might say there ain't no good men out, but you haven't actually looked at yourself and realized and checked, you know, am I actually a good woman? Max, this is not directed to you again. So a lot of women that haven't got options, this, that, complain, request, and want a lot from require something from a man, or require that he's a certain way, or require that he drives or earns X amount, but whole might not even have their own internal issues sorted out. So I do think that in terms of women complaining about not having any options or having terrible options, they need to actually look inward and think, do you know what? Is there anything that I'm doing wrong or not doing that might kind of be a problem as well? And not just kind of saying, I haven't got any good options. Do a good option yourself before you're going out to look for what you consider a good option. But again, Max, not directed to you, because there are a lot of women that will complain about things, but then complain about men, but actually be terrible partners in it themselves. But yeah, that's it.
Thank you for that, Riz. Anybody want to attack? Like, oh, Cobbs is ready. Okay, Cobbs, go for it. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot the original question. So I'm going to respond quickly, but I don't want to stop me from going off topic. Something I'd like to say is Fiat Puntos aren't sexy and Ferraris are expensive. What do I mean by that? The thing is, no one's going to, like, it's like buying a car, right? And when you go on Auto Trader, you have all your filters. It should have good mileage, fuel efficiency, all this and that. Now, no one's going to come out and say, I want a Ferrari, I want a Lamborghini. That's shallow. What they are going to say is, oh, I want a fast car. I want a car with that's loud. I want a car that goes quick. I want a car that handles great. And then you get all these options and you see that all these things are outside of your budget. You can't handle those things. Whereas if you were saying, oh, the things that matter, I want good fuel efficiency. I want the price to be reasonable. All these other things, the options you're left with, you're like, no, it doesn't look sexy enough. Now, I'm not saying appearance doesn't matter. Do not get me wrong. Don't go for anyone that you think is clapped, okay? But the problem is we stack these filters up that are actually superficial and prioritize them. And then we look at what's left from that and wonder why, oh, there's no good choices, there's no good options. Something that men and women do this too. A lot of men's personality is their height or their wallet, and a lot of women's personality is their face, if they know they've got it. So when you're stacking these superficial things from a woman's perspective for a man, men do this too. So let me remove gender from it. When you're stacking these superficial things, the other person knows they've got that. So there's a lower percentage chance that person has good character. It's just empirical evidence. There's nothing biological about it. It's just empirical evidence. So the problem is we're saying there's no good choices, but we've stacked these filters or these things that we're prioritizing as things that are not actually fundamental. What we should be prioritizing is, do they communicate? Are they respectful? Are they considerate? Those are the things that we should lead from, and then look at the options and then, you know, make our judgment based on that. But we're making our judgment from the wrong viewpoint.
Really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Cobbler, for that. He said Fiat Puntos aren't sexy. So
maybe
what a way to line that up.
You don't have to go all the way down to Fiat Punto. You know, Volkswagen Golf, very good car.
No. I like Fiat Punto, that usage of Fiat Punto. For those of us in UK, we know what the Fiat Punto represents, okay? You could even say the Micra, would have been even better. Who hasn't spoken on this? JR, you're looking like a Nike employee. I love it. TD, what's your thoughts on this situation? Talk to me. Choosing bad in the dating scene. What are you saying?
I think Max said something about having a bad option and a worse option. I guess one could argue your viewpoint determines your point of view. I tend to think that if I'm going to just personalize it, if I'm looking at something that I think is outside of my scope, then, and I really want that thing, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to take the time to build up and obtain that thing. Okay. And eventually have it. If it's like, I would like to have it, it's a preference, but it's not necessary, it's not mandatory, then I might settle for something a little less than that, kind of feeling that, you know what, I never would have got that anyway, or it's unreasonable to expect that I should, you know, I don't know. But I guess my underlying point is that when we're going into relationships, a lot of us don't look at ourselves. We look at what we're seeing external to us. So it's all about the guy or the girl and where they're at in life and what they have, what, you know, how much is in their bank account, all of these kinds of things, assets and so on. But we don't look at ourselves to see, okay, do we measure up to that or match up to that? Not to suggest that if you don't, you shouldn't be with that person. But I just think that it affects your whole approach in, you know, kind of saying that I want to be with a guy with this kind of car and this kind of, you know, it affects your whole approach in going in that direction. I suppose there could be some form of arrogance that, you know, I need to have a guy that's like this, or I need to have a girl that's like that, rather than just kind of appreciating individuals for who they are and learning about people. I mean, again, it comes back to why you're dating. If you're dating for marriage, then you're looking for compatibility. You're kind of sizing up, even if somebody looks bad, but when you get to know them, actually really works well with the type of person you are. But you wouldn't know until you engage with that person. You could look at, you know, they say don't judge a book by its cover. I think that's kind of it, really. You've got to engage with people, learn about people, and in that process, you learn about yourself and you see what you can and can't handle. I don't know if I'm way off, but I'm kind of just speaking to how you voiced it to me.
No, you're good, bro. You gave your point of view, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're basically saying that people that are clapped, they should be given a chance by the ladies. What you're saying? Basically, the ladies should lower their standards and go after clap to men. That's what you're actually really saying. So,
I mean, to be honest, I think to be honest, it's again,
oh, you're not denying it. What?
The thing is, right? It's this thing where I don't know if you Shallow Hal. There's a movie called Shallow Hal, and it's this thing where the guy was looking at the girl. She was really overweight. And I think he walked into a shop and they did some magic wuju juju type thing on him. So he saw her based on her personality. When he saw her personality, she was the boom thing. Like it was all that in a bag of chips. And he wanted her and he pursued her and he was on it. But then when the wuju juju came off, it was like, oh, but she's like plus size, like she's some, you know, and that's not what he liked. But at the end of the day, that was the best person for him. I mean, given the circumstance, of course, if he decided not to go, maybe he would have found another person like that who wasn't plus sized. Maybe, I don't know. But the point is that, you know, you in a way, dating is about exploring and learning about people, learning about yourself. If you're dating for the purpose of marriage, then you want to find that compatibility, that synergy. It may not be 100%. It might be 65%. It might be 75%. But, you know, you make a decision to work with it and build from there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, he confirmed what I said. He said lower your standards, ladies. Okay, go for claps, guys. So not attractive. Okay, that's what he said. Who hasn't spoken yet? Charlie, have I heard from you on this topic yet? Have I heard from you on this topic? Don't think I have.
We've kind of merged topics. We've moved.
Yes, away from Mac's question though. From Mac's question about choices being bad and almost being entrapped. You know, in that aspect, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have a different point of view? Maybe you want to challenge something that the panel have even said as well. So, you know, in terms of what you've heard, feel free.
I don't think anyone's ever entrapped when it comes to their choices. I just fundamentally don't believe that principally. What I will say is that if you are committed to doing work on yourself, you will find that your taste changes as you develop. And there are certain things that were not important to you before, and they're important to you now. And there's certain things that were important to you before, and they're not important to you anymore. So as you change, your values shift, it opens up a new demographic of man. And what I've noticed, as you shift, your energy shifts, you grow and you develop, a new category of man is attracted to you. So your choices can evolve as you do. And that's all I'm saying.
That's a straightforward. I like it. JR? Entrapped choices?
Now, I agree with Charlene, and it actually works both ways. I mean, when you're going through certain relationships at different stages in your life, you prioritize different things, you look at life differently. And most importantly, I think that you learn to look at yourself and what you bring as a person to the person you're with's life, right? Not necessarily, you know, what do you bring to the table type discussion, but there has to be an element of self-reflection and self-analysis in order to determine what works for you in the partner that you want to be with, right? And without that self-reflection and self-analysis, you don't know what you want. You're going after what everybody else is going after, but that might not necessarily be for you, all right? So I agree with Charlene. When you're in your 20s, 30s, you have more time, or you think time's not as important. But as you get older and you go through certain relationships, sometimes you regret things. Sometimes you wish you met different people at different stages in your life, you know, but that shapes your decision-making going forward. And hopefully you don't continue to date people that aren't for you after you've made that that evolution or that growth in yourself. And then that comes down back to what Matt was saying, you know, at the end of the day, everybody has choices. And sometimes it's okay to say, no, this isn't for me anymore. Because what I want now is not what I wanted back then. And at the same time, don't close yourself off by saying, oh, you know what? This person's clapped, or this person doesn't do this, or this person doesn't do that. Okay, but do it, like, can the person check you off their list too? Because if you ain't doing nothing, then why would they want to continue to deal with you? So like I said, evaluate what you bring yourself, and then that should make you more comfortable in your decision making going forward.
Thank you, JR. Okay, so we've got like what, 4 minutes before we go to the next topic. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask a question. I want a quick fire answer, because I keep hearing the word clapped and people asking to reduce their levels. So I'm now going to ask the question, because clapped is a very serious description. It's not. Oh, the person is medium schmuggly like we've been hearing on our American side. It's not medium schmuggly. Clapped is a different level of facially challenged. It's like there is levels to being facially challenged. And when you say someone's clapped to you, this is a very, I don't know what would be another slang word that would describe somebody looking when they say clapped, but you can imagine the action of clapped, what it means, you know what I mean? So this is what we mean when we're saying, just for my fellow Americans, because they're watching, wanting to understand the depth of what clapped is. It's not a normal ugly. It's a very deep ugly that you can't deal with. So I want to ask a question now. So someone is clapped to you. Okay, they are clapped to you. Should we be giving them a chance? Is this an option? I need quick fire answer. I don't need long answers. I need quick fire answer because we've only got 3 minutes left now. So if someone's clapped to you, yes, Rizzy, quickly go for me. What are you saying? You go on. We can hear you. Go for it.
Hold on. I said no chance.
Okay, very quickly. Why no chance?
Because I don't feel I could date someone that I'm not physically attracted to, innit? If I believe that I'm a very decent-looking young lad, why won't I date someone that I feel is pretty, is good looking, beautiful? I'd like that for myself. I wouldn't think that I'm decent looking and I'm walking around with someone I'm not really attracted to. But
that's all we need.
Yeah,
that's all we need. You're good.
Yeah, that's just me though.
You're good. That's good. Okay, someone's clapped to you guys. Okay, should we give them a chance? I need quick fire answers. Yes, Cobbler. Yes or no?
You should not give them a chance. And for me, it doesn't even have anything to do with how I look. but I think that you should be attracted to your partner. Physical attraction is very important for like physical intimacy, and it helps bond. It actually helps bond people in a relationship together. It's not the be all and end all, but it's an important factor. I think also beauty is relative, and you know how you perceive it can differ, but clapped, absolutely not. Imagine that person does one little thing to annoy you, and you're thinking they're not even nice.
You gotta wrap it. You gotta wrap it. I know you're gonna go somewhere. I know you was gonna go somewhere, but I gotta wrap it. Jeffrey, really quickly, tell me, clapped, should you give them a chance? Yes or no? Real quick.
No. Hell no. I don't see clapped in my Monopoly ball when I'm playing. I don't see that chance. I'm not taking it. No, just no. Absolutely not. No. Like listen. No. I
appreciate Jeff. TD, clapped, chance or no chance? Because these are the reason why we started this question in the first place.
Bro, I think you spun what I was saying anyway, but I'll leave that for another conversation. Clapped, personally, no. If you're gonna do it, proceed at own risk. I agree with the points that have been made. It's very difficult to justify. I mean, clapped, if it's a stronger word as you guys are saying, then like why would you even do that to yourself? But
it's a very strong word.
Maybe it works for some people. Don't know.
Okay.
Thank you. But I wouldn't encourage it.
I appreciate that. JR, clapped. Would you give that person a chance? Yes or no?
Listen, I don't use the word clapped, but if I'm not physically attracted to the person, then and also if their personality is very off-putting, then I couldn't do it. So no. When you say clapped, if you're just talking about physical, that's you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But if the personality is crap too,
you are beholding. So we're asking you. You are beholding. You're not asking what.
Okay.
You are beholding. So and we're using clapped because it's a good adjective to describe just how bad it is. So I'm saying to you, not that you're not attracted. Attracted is a very broad statement and very cute. But we're saying they're clapped. That means the levels have dropped very low for you personally. So yes or no?
No.
Thank you. That's it. That's it, you know. So we're all keeping it real, keeping it true around here. Jay Anderson, really quickly, clapped, yes or no? Could you do it? Oh wait, you're muted, bro.
I said no, and why should I? I want to look at my missus just like I'm looking forward to who she's gonna be as my helpmate in marriage. I want to look at her and say, this is mine. Like I want her to feel that I feel that she's sexy. I want her to feel that from me. So that there's no such thing as me dating someone who I feel is not attractive. I won't even put her through that. Because we live in our generation, you know, not the uncle, auntie generation that just get married. Like, our generation is very different. Like, we have to think about that. Like,
I don't want to know what you're saying, but I know what you're saying, but I don't want to.
You know
but I know exactly
saying,
what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you say when you say that. I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. I hear you. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Max.
No, you deserve someone that likes you for you.
That's very political, that answer. You deserve someone that likes you for you. What does that mean? You can be liked and be clapped.
No, you deserve someone who is attracted to you, who wants all of you, who celebrates all of you. If I don't, then it's not. That's not it.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Thank you, Naomi.
It's difficult to answer the question because I feel like personality sells, especially in the friend zone. You can friend zone someone, it's like not really attracted to you, and then before you know it, it's like, do you know what? I like the way you. Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, no. In theory, no. But in practice, sometimes you can work with a little something.
Okay. Listen, Naomi said, listen, if you're clap boys, you have a chance. Okay, so she let you know. Who hasn't answered? Charlene, did I ask you? Go for it.
I think it was Cobbler who said the answer is no. I think it was Cobbler who said that you're going to regret it for the rest of your life or something, or you're going to be looking over at them. And I don't know if it was you. I could be making this up. So this is how I feel. You could listen. If you say yes, you're going to wake up every day next to the person thinking, why? Why did I do that? And now you have children with them. And then you're thinking, why did I do? Nah.
Thank you very much, Charlene. All right, cool. I think everyone's answered and unanimously, listen, if you're clapped to somebody, Please, ladies, don't do it. Man, them, please don't do it. Everyone has said they don't want to do it. So if they're clapped to them, people ain't trying to get there. So that's standard. That's universal. We ain't going there. All right, cool. So we're gonna take a look. I'm gonna put a minute break on there, and then we're gonna go into our next topic. Guys, if you need to go to the loo, if you need to go and grab yourself some water, grab yourself some chips or something to eat quickly, go and grab it now. I'm gonna give you guys a minute just to come back and refresh yourself. So take your time and go as you do. All right. Hey guys, apologies. I apologize. Back on a minute. Minute. One more minute, guys. Got one more minute. I'm gonna give y'all one more minute because it takes a little. Listen, guys, we'll be back in a minute or two. But I wanted to just say, listen, if you're with us at the moment, I know they're still peeing, so people are going for their little pee and that. I gave them not enough time. But if you're joining us and you're watching the show and you're enjoying it, please do like this live. Okay, like the live, share it with somebody, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe. We're starting this new panel, so every Wednesday we'll be doing this as well. So Wednesday 9 p.m. we'll be kicking off doing live different topics. I know the UK is tired of relationship talks, but we're gonna add some more of that pain to them. So make sure you share this with somebody, you know, promote it on socials, and you know, get involved. You know what I'm saying? Get involved. Leave comments, leave messages in the chat. We want to interact as much as possible so we can grow as well. But we got another question coming up now, guys. If you were on our previous live, you actually saw a bit of the video that I was wanting to play. Jay, myself and Jay were talking about it, and you know, discussing a little bit about it, and the video did have us a little bit flabbergasted, because it was about open relationships. But you know, we gonna have a real conversation. So if you're in the chat, keep it cute, keep it respectful, and let us know what your thoughts are as well as we go along on the show. Don't forget, like this video, keep the likes coming. We like it and we enjoy it. Okay, all right, cool. So let me get my video for you guys to play, and then by the time I do, I'm sure all the panelists will be back as well. So let's get this going as well. Okay. All righty. There we go. There we go. I wonder if I can play it. There we go. All right. Hopefully this should allow me to do this without causing disruption. Okay. Let's stabilize this internet because it's going to be a little bit delayed. Okay. Let's go. All right, cool. If you're with us earlier on, you would have seen this video, but if you haven't, fantastic. Let's play a bit of this video.
But in order to define it for the way his brain works, polyamorous would be a more, pre-polyamorous would be a more, you know.
I think if any commitment structure you tried to define it as much as we understand commitment structure we've heard over and over and over again. So that's definition. But we polyamory is polyamory literally translates loving dynamic.
So maybe you're right then. So yeah, so maybe you're actually right about that then. Right.
Yeah, so we're interested in experiences and moments, but
it's all messed up.
Yeah, we're all messed up.
That is what I would agree with 100%.
Okay.
Hi, lovers and friends. So throughout this conversation,
okay, so there was, sorry about the lag. The lag was a little bit mad. My internet was deciding to play up a little bit. Internet don't want to be nice to me at the moment. But this topic the topic of open relationships came up because I was watching this video last week, and this is a young couple. They're what, 28, 30, and they're talking about having an open relationship. And they were talking about having an open relationship as well. So I wanted to have a discussion with some young people who are, you know, either in a dating scene or married, whatever, and have a conversation around open relationships and whether they agree with open relationships and what their take is as well. So this is for me. This is me just having this conversation with a group of cool people. So hopefully we get to have a really good conversation. Yes, the internet was deciding to chew me up and do me dirty. So forgive, people, forgive. Let me get my panelists back on the stage. Let me get you guys back on. All right, cool. Let's get you guys back on the stage for me. Let's hit the video. I need the video there. All right, cool. So, ladies and gents, we are talking obviously about open relationships. And so I want to ask you guys first question. Okay, just first question. First question is this: open relationship, Yes or no? Do you agree with open relationship? Yes or no? And why you don't agree with that, or yes, if you agree with it. I want to know your thoughts. Okay, no judgment here, guys. I'm not going to judge you. Okay, I'm only going to look at you some strange way, but I'm not going to judge you. Okay, so just want to get your thoughts. All right, cool. So who would like to go first and tackle this particular one and start off? Since Jay's mic's already open, Jay, you can start it. Open relationship. Do you agree? Yes or no, and why?
Do you know what? Because we tackled this earlier, I was going to let everyone go and I'll go last, but I guess I'll start off. No. And do you know what? I think we mentioned about if in marriage you're being adultery, but I won't even tackle the Christian angle at the moment because I think that's kind of self-explanatory for everyone to understand. What I'm going to say, based on like practical evidence that I have seen, talking to couples, counseling couples, having discussions, it always is based in a temporary fix or a temporary feeling about what we feel that we want in the moment. But it never works long term. Now, if you both decide this is what you want and you both have that vim, that excitement for it, that's entirely up to you, but it still won't work long term. But in most cases, it's one person who suggests it and the other person just goes along with it. Now, I'm not going to kind of spoil what we're going to see in the video, but now it's going to lead on to what I feel next. But to me, it will never work because it's not, if you're going to give yourself to someone, give yourself to someone. When you want other people, you're telling that person they're not enough. I'll leave it there so I won't talk too much.
Like it. Jeffrey, you were going to ask. Go for it.
I would say no. Just no. Even the term open relationship is a contradiction when you're supposed to be open in your relationship. Like, to be honest, because it's just, you are, like Jay said, you're just a temporary fix. If you are seeking for another partner to add on into the relationship to fix whatever wounds you're kind of dealing with, it's not going to solve anything. It's just not. So let's just hypothetically say you get with somebody, add them into the relationship, and whatever fix that you think is fixed. And what if that person you bring into the relationship is not the thing you're looking for? What then? You're going to get another person. How far are you going to take this if you don't focus on the internal issues that you've got to deal with? So no, just no.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. Who opened their mic? Go for it. Whoever opened their mic a minute ago. Someone open their mic? No? All right, cool. I'll just choose somebody. TD, you're already there, so go for it. Open relationship, yes or no? Or open marriage?
Nah. It's already messy with two people. Let's be real. It gets messy enough with two people. Like, you're gonna add a third and a fourth, like you're cray. I think no. I know people do it. I know they, for whatever reason, whatever purpose, whatever satisfaction they get out of it, well, each to their own, but I would say no.
Okay. Appreciate TD. Let me go to the top of my list and I'll come back down. Yes, Charlene, go for it.
I don't agree with it or disagree with it. I don't think it's a case of my agreement or my disagreement. I honestly feel like if you're going to do, it's about what works. And I think that having an open relationship requires a level of maturity and mastery. And if you haven't mastered that one-to-one relationship, you have no business inviting more people in. What I will say is it's not for me, but I don't think it's something to agree with or disagree with like that. It's just about what works.
I like the point. Okay, yeah, I like the point. Cobbs, what are you telling me?
I agree with Charlene. Yeah, if someone's in an open relationship, it's up to those 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in that relationship, as long as what they're doing is consensual and isn't harming anybody else. Yeah, I think open marriages have about an 8% success rate, so it's probably not going to work. But I mean, if that's what you want to do, go for it. I do think it is a vice, and you know, like a lot of vices, they're avoiding the actual issue. But just to throw a spanner in the works, when we talk about open relationships, we're talking about sexually open relationships. A lot of people are in open relationships without even considering it. They're putting their emotional security in other people. Instead of trusting the partner that they're with, they're putting their trust in other people. People are open in their relationships a lot more than they consider just because it's not sexual.
Okay, I'll hold on to that particular point, and we might have to talk about that after. Still, okay. All right, Max, what do you think? Open relationship? Yeah, no.
So I'll just clarify this time that I'm not going to share necessarily my perspective, so I don't become the sacrificial lamb. In terms of open relationships, I think people probably have a better chance at it these days than before, in the sense that if you look at the Bible, you could probably argue a lot of them were in open relationships, and technically you could say it was to meet a need. So if you look at Abraham and Sarah, when she invites Hagar into their marriage, she's technically, you could argue that she's opened it for a purpose. Maybe that's an argument. You don't have to agree. Fair enough. But I think nowadays there's a lot more clarity over, I think it's more of an agreement that, oh, this is something we're agreeing between us. And I'm not necessarily saying that makes it more successful in the long run. I think someone mentioned the point of it not necessarily being a long-term thing. But I do think that people seem to be more comfortable with putting this idea forward. It seems to be more accepted. And I think it probably would be, quote unquote, more successful or more accepted if it was explored these days.
I like the points that you made there. I like that. JR?
Yes, it's a simple no, not at all. Nope. You're inviting more people in to potentially be more attracted to than the person you started off with. If you feel like you want a relationship, but you want to date multiple people, it's a contradiction. Why have a relationship? Why not just stay single and continue to date whoever you want to date? Why do you have to come back to someone and have a relationship but still want to date other people? It's greedy and it's unnecessary. You're just going to create more turmoil. You're going to be, having conversation with one person, dealing with somebody else's drama, knocking the boots with somebody else. It's too much. So no, it's not going to work for a long-term, healthy, loving relationship. No.
Okay, cool. So I think that across the board, it seems pretty much conclusive across the board for most people on this. But I want to go back to Cobbler, your statement that you made. You spoke about the fact that people might be in open relations, might not even really realize. I want you to expand on that a little bit more so we can have a discussion around that. What did you mean by that?
Well, yeah, I think, when you look at the core values or the core tenets of a relationship, I'm not going to conclusively define them as if I'm the oracle on that subject. But I think people let's talk marriage here, because I think when at that point, when you make that commitment to be with someone, and we're talking for people that are positioning themselves for monogamous relationships, I think when you make that commitment to someone, you're effectively, or what you should be saying to them is that I can wholly and completely trust you. You are my person. Not to say you don't have other people. We have community for a reason, but I think people don't always bring their full selves to a relationship. They keep bits away, and they're not fully vulnerable with the person that they're with, and they're sharing that vulnerability with other people. And I think in a way it's an emotional betrayal when they're not fully comfortable or fully vulnerable around the person that they're with. And I'm talking marriage here, because I get when you're dating, you can have your guard up, you could have trauma, there could be all types of things. And I'm not saying you can't date if you don't come as this perfect, whole, complete person. But I think when you actually make that commitment and that dedication to be with someone, that you should be able to be fully vulnerable, communicative, respectful, and trust with that person.
I like those points still. Okay. Yeah, okay. I hear that. Anyone have maybe an opposing view or something different from what he just described there? Anything different to what he described? Everyone agrees 100%.
Can I give what that practically may look like? So imagine
only if you disagree.
have...
Wait, before you go, Jay, I just want to see if anyone disagrees before I get to that point. So no one disagrees. Everyone's in agreement. All right, go for it, Jay. Got 2 minutes. Go for it.
I'll even be sure. You have your spouse, and to be honest, let's be honest here, they definitely have to wait for marriage for this to happen. But you have your partner that you say you love, you want to build life with, etc. I'm going to use, okay, let's just say when things go wrong, because that's usually when this happens, right? When things are going wrong, instead of confiding in that partner that Cobbler was talking about, you confide in someone else. So the emotions and the conversation and the communication that you should be giving your partner in order to solve the issues, you are choosing not to do that. I know there's times where you may feel it's hard to do that because of how they're being. I get that. But either way, when you're confiding in another person, it will always become a problem, especially when you're confiding in the opposite sex. How many times have you done that just to find out that that man that you're confiding in actually likes you? And all of a sudden, he hates the partner that you're with. He dislikes the partner that you're with. Why do you think he does that? What seeds do you think he's planting? And the reason why you like these conversations is because he or she, could the men do it too, you like the conversation because of how they make you feel. Your partner's not currently making you feel that way. So you reach out, you attach to a person that you should never be. And usually that person uses it to their advantage. You have to be careful. But that's an angle where a lot of people are doing without realizing it. And that's why when it comes to counseling, they say your friendships are going to change. You have to be a lot more wise about who you speak to. Not everybody is this friend that you think. You have to analyze and realize what attachments you actually have with people.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm hearing that. Any thoughts on what has been shared by Jay and by Cobbler? Any other thoughts have been shared that you would like to go for it, Jeffrey? Yep, go for it. 2 minutes.
Yeah, to add on to that is that it's almost like you have people that will call your friends, but it's really disingenuous. They'll pretend like they actually care for you for your best interest, but the moment you are in a committed relationship, aka marriage, and things go wrong, a true friend should have an unbiased perspective, to actually have a balance, to actually speak into the relationship to help you actually build it, not be saying things that are pandering to you to give you that sense of emotional validation that you're looking for in that moment, because then now you have created an attachment style or sense of security within that person, which could potentially lead you to start sharing even more secrets on in the future. Yeah, and you don't know how far this is going to take either man or woman. So it's a bit dangerous. This is why if you're going to have any issues, either you speak with the person you're dealing with in the relationship, or you get a trained counselor, therapist, or if you have a friend that is biased. That's what I would say to that.
Anybody else have any existing thoughts into this before I ask another question?
Just to say, I think the emphasis is on neutrality. If you have a third party who's a confidant, they have to be neutral to both parties in the relationship. And I think what Jeffrey was saying, if you don't mind, Jeffrey, just to qualify what you were saying, is that the friend needs to be a friend to both persons. Because if you have a friend who's isolated to either spouse, there's always going to be room for bias. And that is almost to be expected. Not to say they should go down that road, but there will always be room for that. But if you have a friend who's a friend to both parties, who can speak to both persons, whether right or wrong, they'll always maintain neutrality, and their interest is in you as a couple. As I personally, I think this topic is specifically for monogamy / marriage. I think if you're outside of that bound, then I mean, not to say anything goes, but people do all sorts these days, isn't it? So who makes the rules when you're not married, right? But if it's marriage, there's a clear guideline and textbook in the Word of God. Some people don't take that, but generally speaking, even governments and states have a very strict criteria for marriage. The legal aspect is very much built to protect people, and yeah, I think you've got to protect that even when you're entering in external relationships as well.
Yeah, Charlene, go for it.
I just wanted to say, I know that there's a principle here of monogamy good, open relationship bad, right? Just as a general principle, and just based off of what TD was talking about when he mentioned the Bible and the Word of God, open relationships in the Bible were the norm. It was normal to have concubines. It was normal to have multiple wives. What I'm saying is that if that is where you're going to go, it has to be built on maturity. You have to know what your boundaries are. You have to know, for example, if you're the first wife, you don't talk to the second wife about your husband, about your complaints about your husband. If you're the third wife, know your place. This is not for me, but I'm just talking about principally, if you're going to do it and make it work, you have to have a certain type of personality. Don't think you're going to go into an open relationship with all of these attachments and jealousy and think that's going to work. But there are people out there who are not really that attached, and they do like the benefits of a relationship to come home to whilst dating outside, and it works for them. I'm just saying that there are lots of different dynamics that are possible, even if it doesn't fit in the mold of what we would do culturally or what we would think is correct to do. And I'm just saying that that's the reason why I don't think it's right or wrong. I base it upon, does it work? Does it not work? And if it does work, what kind of personality would make that work? If it doesn't work, what kind of personality would not make that work? That's my perspective.
Wait, before you two already gone, wait, hold on. I need someone else who hasn't gone yet. If they're gonna go before I ask this question. Yes, Naomi.
Just to kind of like piggyback off what Charlene said. So I don't see myself being in an open relationship or marriage, but I can appreciate that those who find themselves in those kind of dynamics don't feel as restrained by social constructs. They don't feel as restrained by, they kind of have a less, what is the perfect word? They don't feel so attached to the idea of being mutually attached to someone in the way that most people do. I think it requires a level of security and understanding of self that sometimes, like, respectfully, some people just can't imagine the idea of their partner being attracted to somebody else, having sex with somebody else, dating other people. But I do see that it can sometimes feel a bit, in any relationships that we have, most people have siblings, most people have two parents, you have multiple friends, and they all bring different things to our lives in terms of like how we see each other and how we navigate. And I think that sometimes people might feel like having those different external relationships might be able to kind of like just broaden and understand yourself and bring something new to their main relationship. So I can, for the most part, I see it as arguably problematic for me, because I can't envision myself being able to feel comfortable in the idea of my partner being attracted to somebody else, spending a lot of time with someone else. But I can see that where you have been able to adopt a perspective or mindset where, your partner being attracted to somebody else doesn't define you, or doesn't kind of like take away from your self-esteem and etc., or doesn't make you internalize the experience. Your relationship isn't about the objective things, it's about the actual connection that you have and the security you have with the partner.
Okay. Anyone who hasn't spoken got any thoughts? If not, I'm gonna ask a question. This is getting there, so I'm gonna ask a question. I believe most people here are monogamous, and they want to be monogamous. My question is, why do you want to be monogamous? Outside of God, because I know some of your Christians, so I'll take that out of the box. If we're just talking outside of God, why be monogamous? What is the point of being monogamous? Okay, Jeffrey, you want to go for it? Go for it then.
Okay, coach. I think I'll say that the reason why I would choose to be monogamous, if I'm taking God out of the equation, is because I was raised in a two-parent household. And I'm not saying that monogamy or having two parents is a perfect situation, because not one human being is perfect. But I think when I see the dynamic where there's reciprocity that is shown between two consenting couples who have love for each other and learn to listen to each other, sometimes my mom will be coming home to my dad, and next thing you know, she's gone for a lot in terms of work, and then my dad is able to be there to listen to her. Like, my dad will tell her, be that person to dump your information on me so I can listen to it, so I hear where you're coming from. And there's like a healthy dynamic where people are talking to one another, having healthy communication styles, laughing, kiki, ha ha ha, and whether they're watching the television, having things to talk about, and they engage, like the children involved, us involved in that. I see that there's a level of equal reciprocity that is happening in that dynamic. I find it hard to imagine that could be replicated when you have multiple people in a situation where your time and attention is not going to be as equally divided when you're in a situation of multiple people in one area. That's the issue I have with it. Then you got to think about potential politics. You know, as kids, sometimes we know what to say and how to say to our parents to get them on our side sometimes. Child politics. How much more so when you have multiple mums or multiple dads in the situation, when you have open relationships? How far do you want to take it? Then there's the idea of the resources as well. It's not as if you're going to be able to equally split resources when it comes to looking after people in an open relationship as well. Then there's also the case of people hearing about it and how the dynamic works together. It's like, unless, of course, you can tell me that every single person within an open relationship knows their responsibility, knows the role, and are not going to be overstepping the boundaries. Already, there's a small percentage that I've seen in the US that, you know, it doesn't work. So that's all I've got to say about that.
Appreciate it, Jeff. Anyone want to add? So why monogamy? Why are you choosing monogamy? If you're going, yes, Cobbs, why are you choosing monogamy then?
Because I can't come and die for two people. If I'm gonna marry someone, like they're gonna be my person, and I want to be their person. Like I want to have that kind of relationship where there's that complete trust and that complete bond where I can actually serve the person I'm with. Now, you know, none of us can actually fully dedicate our lives to someone. This isn't my girl from Coming to America. Like there's only actually so much we can give, but there's always more we can give if that makes sense, within our capacity. So if I say I love someone and I really want to fully invest in that person, then I can't have the distraction of having other people, because there's always more that I can do for that one person. So why am I splitting my capacity, as Jeffrey said, my resources with multiple people? It just doesn't make sense.
Any of the ladies out here, why monogamy? Why are you choosing monogamy? If you choose monogamy, I'm assuming so. If you choose, yes, Arlene. Why monogamy? If you choose
100%, because I think that there's something about being devoted to one man that is very appealing to me. I think that you can direct all of your love and all of your, I'm going to use the word surrender, to that one person and have it focused in one direction. And I think that that's a beautiful thing, to not have to split your attention, but to be singularly focused.
Listen, Charlene, even if you say you're going to be polygamous, when it sounds, the way you sound in my ear, I'll take whatever you're giving, bruv. Yeah. Take whatever you're giving, bruv. Yeah. But I hear what you're saying. Any of the boys again, monogamy. Why monogamy? You know, who haven't spoken. Why are you choosing monogamy if that's the case? Yes, Jay.
I'll answer this by referring to things that were mentioned previously on our land, right? When it comes to Abraham and Sarah, that was done to create a temporary fix, but it created a mess. When it comes to the culture in the Bible, not faith, but the culture of the people at the time, polygamy, or whatever you want to call it, was reserved for the men who was at the top of the hierarchy. So even the women were happy to marry these men because of who they were and be one of many and have their babies and etc. That's a different time than we live in now. So for me, I have to understand it is, who am I as a man? And like Cobb saying, I'm not going to die for two women. I don't want that. I don't want to give my heart to two women. And one of the things that make me think about, what does cheating do, or what does having another woman do to my missus? Like as guys, we say, okay, yeah, we can have sex with different women and doesn't affect our love, etc. Yeah, that may be true for most men, but ultimately, if we're going to give ourselves to a woman, we have to understand, how does she want to be loved? And for me, I know that me engaging with another woman is going to break her heart, because my actions are going to show her how I love her. And if she's telling me those actions are going to break her heart, I'm very stupid if I go and do that. So to me, I agree with what everyone has said, but I'm going to add, I don't want to have multiple women because I don't want to break my missus' heart. I don't desire to do that. I have no interest in doing that, and that's me.
So basically, if you chose the right woman where she said it won't break her heart, you would do it. I hear you, Jay.
No.
Risley, what are you saying? Go for it, Risley.
I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy.
Hey, I didn't say it. You said it. You said, if my missus is going to get heartbroken. I said, if she's not getting her heartbroken, it means you're going to do it. So I hear what you're saying. You're going to do it, sir. It's okay. Risley, monogamy, yes or no? And if you're, I'm not even just saying, but
Monogamy.
monogamy, why did you choose to do
it? Did you say if you mentioned, you say if we're not in our religious beliefs, right?
Yeah, I know that God
Can you
is
hear
the
me?
reason why a lot of us do it, but I'm saying,
Or
yeah,
am
I
I
can hear you,
lagging?
bro. No, you're good. You're good.
All right. Yeah. Well, if I'm being real, if I'm being honest, if it wasn't for my religious beliefs, I'll be in an open relationship, man. I'll be real. I'll be very real. But yeah. But I think it's mainly my religious beliefs, and obviously you can give yourself to one person, but I think I'll be in an open relationship. I'll be real. I'll be like Solomon. I'll be like Solomon. I'll be real.
Technically, Solomon wasn't necessarily in an open relationship. He was in a relationship where he had wives; they didn't have husbands. But so, if you're saying that, so could you have your partner having partners? Is that what you're saying to me right now?
Well, I mean, I'll be in a one-sided open relationship. So basically, I'll be cheating.
I knew you couldn't do it. I knew you couldn't do it.
I won't be cheating. I'm joking. Nah. I can only be with with one woman, man. Because I feel like when I give myself to one, it takes a lot out of me, innit, personally. And I only have the energy for one woman. And women are hard work. So I can only do, just one at a time for me, man. Just one at a time. I can only be vulnerable with one person at a time. Put it that way. I can't be vulnerable with 100 people.
Thank you, Riz. We know you'd like polygamous. Anyway, so yes, who hasn't answered this question? Why are you choosing monogamy? JR, your answer. Why are you choosing monogamy?
Well, for me, it's a personal choice. Like I've come from a family where it's been monogamous commitments that led to marriage. So I've been heavily influenced by that. But for a personal perspective, growing up, I realized a long time ago that I only want one partner. That's all I need, just one. Don't want multiples. Don't want the drama. Don't want the downsides to all of that come with living that type of lifestyle. And the person that I choose to be with, it may be putting all my eggs in one basket, but I'm prepared to do that, and it's it's not a problem for me to do that. I'd like to do that and hopefully get it right.
Appreciate it. All right, Joe. Max, I ain't heard from you. Why are you choosing monogamy?
It gives room for failure. When you know that someone is committed to you, it gives you space to grow and gives you space to get better. The idea of, let's say, you're infertile or you can't have a child, you're barren, and someone going to then, well, I'm still going to have a child just without you. That is a scary concept. Or you're not pleasing me in bed, but someone else can. That doesn't quite allow for the relationship that I would want for the rest of my life. So thinking about the security, thinking about the environment it can create, one of trust, one of vulnerability, one of growth, one of building, one of generational wealth, when we're putting all our resources in one space, that works in my best interest. So that's why monogamy.
Okay, so everyone's answered on why they would choose monogamy. Okay, cool. Let me ask a question then. Just a little bit of chaos because we've got last 10 minutes. Just a little bit of chaos. Okay. Scenario. Okay. God is out of the picture now. Okay. So I know that a lot of you are going to use your God stand, and we can't use a God stand. Okay. Because the God stand is a trump card. Okay. So God is out of the picture. Okay. So this is just you. Okay. Let's say you're married. I'm going back onto what Mac was actually going to say. So she kind of took my example. You married, but now your wife is barren, but you've always wanted kids. Or for the ladies too. You know what? He can't put it down in the bedroom. It's not working. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about it's not working. I'm talking about it get and care. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? What if that's the situation? You know what I mean? and there's an option to opt out, you know, to get another person in to resolve that particular issue, would you now take it? That's the question. Would you now take it? Who said absolutely not?
I did.
Okay. Why would you not? Why would you not?
Kids aren't just some manufacturing thing where one machine is broke, you go pick up another machine. No, you have to actually think about the mother of these children. And when you're marrying someone, if you wanted kids, you're not just marrying them as a wife, you're marrying them as a mother to your potential children. Now, if you can no longer have children with that person, it is a very sad situation. However, your love for that person should be so robust that that scenario doesn't affect how you feel about the person and the commitment you've made and will continue to make to that person. End quote.
Okay, that was sharp and that was strong. Does anybody have an opposing view? Anybody else want to be brave and tell us the truth of how they really feel? Yes, God is watching, but you don't have to tell the lies because God can see your heart. So come on, someone tell the truth, how they feel.
Can I say, you may not do it, but what would you want to do if you could?
That's what I'm trying to say. And that's essentially what I'm saying. I'm saying that's just to take God out of the situation. We all know, I think this conversation is different. We are Christians here, most of us, and we know that the God card is a trump card. So you're going to do what God is going to tell you to do. But I'm saying now, God is not in the picture. If this is the scenario that's been presented to you, could you now see yourself opening up the relationship in order to solve the issue potentially of either, you know, not being able to have children or, you know, fulfill certain desires because people are not performing? Could that be a case?
Nah.
No, Jeff, we said
it couldn't be for me. Even if I'm taking God out of the equation, maybe because I'm so much of a romantic at heart. I think because I love so much of my wife and the person that I chose to be with, because she is like basically the representation of me in a lot of ways in terms of our values and stuff like that. I love her so much and I care for her. So I'm basically, you're basically like a rebound at this point. I'm like getting like a second place to simply fulfill something that she couldn't do, unfortunately. No, I might as well just simply adopt a child at that point, because it's more so the characteristics that make her being the mother, not so much the fact that she's biologically incapable of being able to birth a child for me. Nah, I can't, nah, they can't do them things. Nah, I can't do it. I can't even fathom the thought. Nope, I can't do it.
Okay, strong words. TD, and then Naomi. TD, then Naomi. Go for it, TD.
Well, I think you've presented a poison chalice because you're speaking to intention. But my take, you're coming from the kind of human, kind of push that envelope of we're all human, and like everybody's got that kind of, you know, dark side that they might want to just explore and such. But personally speaking, once you speak to marriage, but again, it's subject to our experience, our upbringing, our culture and such. But I don't think people enter that enterprise or that commitment with the intention of stepping outside of it for any reason. You know, even the vows commit you to a high standard of, you know, monogamy, commitment, and just literally just it's narrow. It's very much for better, for worse, sickness and health, rich or poorer, till death do us part. You know, and those words have implications. I think that the reality is people have fallen into this situation where someone's not putting it down, someone's not giving it up, and they drink from, you know, they drink the waters from cisterns they should not drink. You know, whether they intentionally wanted to do that in terms of the fact that they you know said that I'm marrying this person, but if she's not doing it or he's not doing it, then I'm going to step outside. I don't think people necessarily step into marriage with that mindset. If I'm going to speak personally, definitely not. But the reality is, humans, sometimes we walk into situations that get the better of us. So it's really about the decisions you make. You know, someone could say, oh, I won't do it, but you're deciding to talk to somebody, and that interaction is opening a door which could lead to the possibility that could happen, even though you don't foresee it. You know, again, unfortunately, to refer to scripture, the Bible says that a prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself. I think intentions, I don't think people marry with those intentions. So again, to kind of reiterate what everyone's saying, no.
Okay. Naomi, go for it. Thank you, TD.
So I didn't actually get a chance to respond to the first question about why monogamy. For me
Okay,
personally,
yes, go for it.
I would choose monogamy because it's secure, it's stable, and it has parameters, and it allows me to be able to kind of invest all of my energy into one situation. I don't think I have the capacity to be able to spread myself thin and kind of like give people the same thing. In relation to the second question, I think that when I think about commitment, I think and foresee a commitment that is unmoving. So whatever happens around our relationship doesn't take away from, you know, the reason why we're together. And obviously it's very devastating, the scenarios you put forward, and I wouldn't even want to imagine myself in those situations, but I can definitely see myself being in a situation where, God forbid, I cannot bear children, God forbid I am terminally ill, and wanting to at least give my partner the option, not because I want them to take it, but because I feel like it will be not selfish, but it's like you've gone into a situation with dreams and a picture of what you want to have together. And if an unforeseen circumstance comes in, it's like you kind of have to revise the plan of like, how does this relationship now suit what we wanted long term? So if I found myself being unable to have children, God forbid, or let's say I have like terminal cancer, again, God forbid, it's like I wouldn't want my partner to immediately like make the decision to say, I'm going to go out and get another woman pregnant, or I'm just going to start dating other people. But I think I would feel kind of like I owe it to them to kind of like, no, I understand if you wanted to, because this is immediately what you sign up for. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have any?
You're going round and I've spoken already. Can I just respond to that real quick? Is that okay?
Before you do, I need to ask if someone else hasn't gone yet. I'll come back to you though. Thank you for submitting. Someone hasn't spoken yet on this subject.
I'll go. So, of course, this speaks to Abraham Sarah's exact situation where, in fact, back in those days, to be seen as a barren woman was seen as a woman, you have no value. You are at the bottom of the barrel. What's going on here, right? Of course, in some cultures still act like that. But in terms of our conversation, we don't see women as, because you can't have kids, you're not useful, you're not a woman, you're not, you're just someone who's just, no, we don't see it that way. Well, I would hope so, because I can't, obviously. I would hope so that we don't see it that way, right? So, but I look at it as, I said I'm with you, you're my wife, right? So just because we can't have kids doesn't mean I'm not going to continue performing my duties. I'm not going to take an opportunity to go and have kids or be with someone else. Like, what I signed up for was for you and for us to build and do what we need to do together, right? And that's it. There's one question I have. Well, it's not a question, but there's someone on the panel, unless they was trolling me, and me and Kojo, there's someone on the panel who about a year ago was saying that they was down for a poly relationship. Unless you was trolling, right? But if you were serious, I think it's a good discussion to have and why there's been a changed mind. If you was trolling, don't worry about it. But if you was being genuine at the time, I think it's a great discussion to understand what changed your mind.
Do you have a name? Do you have a name?
Naomi.
I feel like you were kind of directing that at me, but I don't ever remember saying I'll be in a poly relationship. We were speaking about cheating, and I was talking about, just understanding fundamentally how men and women can sometimes be wired differently, and understand why men are more inclined to carry out cheating. And I understand it, not that I accept it or I desire it. So don't be trying to put words in my mouth.
There's something else you said, but it's fine.
I love these two. These two, I knew they were gonna go out. I knew it was too nice this whole day. It was too nice.
And also, just to piggyback off what Jay said, what he said is
really quick.
what I would love to hear from a partner. And it's kind of like desired, but again, going back to the point of the option should be there, given that that's not what we signed up for. That's what I think I would present to my partner. But if I had my way, I would want for them to ride the what is it saying? Ride the back to the walls fall off. Yeah.
Okay, Charlene, and then I'll go to you, Cobbs. Yep.
The only thing I was going to say is that it just feels so extreme. Like the example that you've given for women particularly, right? If your guy has got ED, you're going to get somebody else and keep the guy. That is the ultimate disrespect, and it's so extreme.
But so is that.
Yeah, but do you think it's going to be?
It's not. Nothing. You tried everything. It's not working.
Do you think it's going to stand on the Lord with you getting somebody else in the picture?
That's what I'm asking. I'm saying that you've tried everything. You've tried all the seeds in the world. You've tried all the oils in the world. You've tried all the citrus fruits you can try. All the aphrodisiacs. You've tried all of them. You know what I mean? And still, as I'm asking, at that point, hypothetically
on this
speaking,
rock I shall build my church, and that
it's
will
not a rock though. That's the problem.
But it won't ever be a rock if you try and get somebody else in the picture. It's so extreme. Like, my goodness. That's all.
There are generally people out there whose thing does that. You say it's extreme. Wait till you find out. I hope you never find out. But
no,
people think
to get
be
another
suffering.
man in the picture is what I'm saying. Just to try and solve it like that. Come on.
We're laughing, but it's a serious thing.
Somebody else in that context, you might as well.
People really do. You must exit. Okay, fair enough. That's fair. That's fair. Cobbs, you said you wanted to say something. We've got last few minutes, so we've got to keep.
Almi, are you still with us? I hope you're still with us.
She's with us. She's with us.
All right, cool. My thing is, you want to propose that question hoping for a particular answer. You've got to be prepared for whatever answer comes out if you're really going to put that question out there. Because in this life, the more you fuck around, the more you go. Okay, so don't be pushing out questions hoping there's a particular answer, because you're setting them up in a way. Because then if you're going to be disappointed that they've stepped out or they've gone for a different answer, yeah, that's not an option you should be giving somebody if your heart's not really in it.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay, so
Max,
wait,
before you go, Naomi.
Pardon?
Before you go, Naomi, fair enough. I need to ask if anyone hasn't gone, and those who haven't gone yet, you got like a minute before I can say it, because we got time is about to run. So, Max, I haven't heard from you in a long time, so I don't know if you have any contribution.
Let Naomi go.
JR, and then before I go to Naomi, JR, you got a minute.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just keep it quick. Listen, turning your man into a cuckold is like end of your relationship. Yeah, so I don't know what chain of thought people are thinking about. Second of all, this is why it's important to be nice and kind and loving in your relationship, because if something does go wrong medically or some unforeseen circumstance happens, you want that person to be there for you and to support you and care for you and love you in the same way as they did before this stuff happened. By being by pushing them away, or by being a particularly difficult person to be with, and then turning around and expecting that person to dote on you in your time of need, it's going to be very tough for that person to do, and it's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to push them away. So while you have your wits about you and while you're fully functioning, treat your partner with love. They'll reciprocate if they're the right person for you. And then when it comes to things like childbearing and things like that, or any other medical complications, you're there to support each other, and it's genuine love that, and it's been built on a foundation that can survive the test of time. But the cuckolding thing, nah, bruv, that's never gonna work.
I hear you still. Max, you're not gonna say anything? We've got a minute. You got a minute, and I go to Naomi. You got nothing to add? All right, Naomi, you're gonna have the last say, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Ultimately, I love the body of what JR just said. I think I can appreciate that, having the desire for someone to carry out the outcome that you want is, in practice what we all want, but you have to give people the options. And I would never want to be at the root of someone's unhappiness in a relationship. And that's why the option has to be there. That's not what I want if I could have my way, but ultimately I want you to be happy. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. Whew, Chile, what a discussion. Beautiful stuff. Thank you, panelists. You guys came through and gave some gems and some points as well, and it was a great conversation. And I'm hoping to have you guys back next week. Those of you who can, same time, 9 p.m. because I got an awesome topic as well. But I will let you guys know behind the scenes. Quickly, I want everyone just to as a sign off. If you've got any like podcasts or you've got any YouTubes or if you've got any kind of ventures or businesses that you got going on at the moment, I want you to guys let them know where they can find you and how they can support and get behind what you do already. So if I go for Max and kind of just go across the panel, so Max to Cobbler to JR, and then from J to JXR. So yes, Max, go for it.
Cool. Nothing for now.
Thanks, Max. Charlene.
So I'm Charlene, the Vocal Alchemist, and you can basically find me on that name under every single platform. I'm a public speaking and communications expert, and I help you to use your confident voice to make money.
And I believe you. It works. My ear is telling me. Naomi.
You can find me on all socials at Naomi Mbelu. You can listen to my podcast, Pretty Girl Problems, on all audio platforms. And I have an episode called Cheating in Context. King, you should listen to it so you can understand what I was saying in the last discussion. And I break down. Sorry. But yeah, check out my podcast,
Cobbs.
I am Cobbler, creatively jacked, financially stacked. That's my Instagram. I don't use Twitter. Yeah, I'm a musician, so you can stream my music, jazz, Afrobeat. Also an aerospace engineer, so just to stir the pot a little bit. Come follow me and see how I live the duality of life, man. Live your best life, and next.
Spicy. He's telling all truth. Trust me, he really is. Jay.
Thank you, panel. Most of you I've met for the first time today. You've all been amazing. Just do this again with all of you. Thank you, everyone in the chat. My Instagram is J Anderson King. I'm currently building a ministry, as I mentioned earlier, called Kingdom in Need of God, Kingdom in Need of Greatness. It's a men's ministry. One of the things I'm passionate about is men truly knowing themselves, growing within that, and making the right decisions according to the word of God. That's why I believe is our foundation. I'm not caring about all the other things that people talk about. To me, it's God or nothing. And that's it.
Love that. Jeff.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. Called It's Jeff and You. Spoken word artist, poet as well. But my slogan is love life, love God, love people. That's it.
Love that, Jeff. Thanks. TD.
Hey guys, TD representing Team Jesus. I run a music school called Psalms. It stands for the Perfecting Sound and Learning Music School. You can check me out on Instagram. I've got a link tree as well. So be grateful if you guys support that. And I'm also a youth leader and mentor. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and other socials as well.
Lovely. JR?
I'm JRX TV on YouTube and IG. I help get the world fitter, faster, stronger, and feeling better about yourself. Follow me on IG and YouTube, like I said, and I also do reviews and social commentary.
Love that. And Risley, let them know where they can support your things. You get me? Because if they need a model on that, they need to holler at you.
Oh gosh, I don't even model anymore. But yeah,
that's because you're too good for them.
You can find me on Instagram, RK_upnext. I've got TikTok. I don't really use it as much. I just go on it to laugh, but you can follow me on that as well. That's Sharing and Pappy, 2 eyes. But yeah, if you want to sow into my life, that's good as well. I'll drop my bank details somewhere for you to sow into my life.
I told you, let them know. They should know. Fine boy like you should collect sugar for these ladies. So for you to use your face for evil things.
Kojo, you should be collecting offering. Have you told everyone that you're a prophet?
Stop that. Stop that. I'm muting you. Stop that because you're banned. Listen, hey, audience, thank you so much for joining us all the way from the Americas. We know that you guys enjoy the fine luxuries of the British folk. So I brought them all from different corners of London, mostly, because the rest of the country don't count. And so I brought them to the panel so we can have this great conversation as well. So we'll be back here next week with another enthralling conversation, another enthralling topic to dissect as well. So make sure you tell somebody, you share this with somebody, you're liking the video on your way out, okay, as well. And you know I can't leave you guys without a little something. You know I can't leave you without a little something. You know how it goes. So if you've been with us, you know what I'm about to play. For those of you who are new, welcome to this particular beauty I'm about to play here.
I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
You should always leave here with something. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked, We'll see you again very, very soon.